The smartphone in your pocket, the laptop on your desk, the electric car charging in your driveway. They're all powered by the darkest, most bloody materials on Earth, minerals that are literally stained with the blood of millions. This is the gray economy of conflict minerals, an underground trade that fuels the perpetual wars of Central Africa and fuels the insatiable appetite of the global tech industry. The most valuable of these minerals is coltan, a dull, metallic, or that is the primary source of tantalum, a heat-resistant metal essential for the small capacitors that regulate current in every electronic device. Without coltan, the modern world would cease to function. But the journey of coltan from the muddy pits of the Democratic Republic of the Congo to the gleaming assembly lines of Apple and Samsung is a trail of misery. The DRC is a nation of immense natural wealth, but it is also a nation cursed by it. The eastern provinces of North Kivu and South Kivu, where the richest coltan deposits are found, are a battleground for a bewildering array of militias. The Rwandan-backed M23, the Mai Mai, the FDLR, and dozens of splinter groups all vie for control of the mines. These groups are not fighting for ideology. They are fighting for money. The coltan trade is the engine of their war. The mines are frequently captured by the army, then lost to rebels, then captured again, each shift in power resulting in widespread atrocities, rape, and murder. The UN estimates that nearly 20% of all profits from the coltan trade in the region ends up directly in the hands of these armed groups, a figure that translates into tens of millions of dollars per year. The miners themselves are modern slaves. They work in grueling, dangerous conditions, deep in the mud, often for children. They carry sacks of or weighing over 50 pounds on their heads for miles through the jungle, paid a pittance that barely keeps them alive. The men, women, and children who dig for coltan are at the bottom of a supply chain that stretches across continents. The ore is traded in the local towns of Goma and Bukavu, where it is bought by intermediaries who smuggle it across the border into Rwanda. There, the ore is mixed with coltan from Rwanda's own mines, which are far less violent. This washing of the ore makes it legally impossible to trace its true origin. The minerals are then processed in smelters, often in China, where the tantalum is extracted and sold to component manufacturers. These components end up in the products of the world's largest corporations. The tech giants claim they have responsible sourcing policies, but these are frequently just pieces of paper. The problem is structural. The global electronics industry is so desperate for the raw materials that the demand incentivizes the violence. A ceasefire agreement in 2013 did little to stop the trade. The smuggling just shifted to different routes. The UN has attempted to impose sanctions and create certificates of origin, but the corruption in the region is so pervasive that the paper trail can be easily fabricated. The consequences are devastating for the DRC. The war in the eastern provinces, fueled by the mineral trade, has killed over 5 million people since the late 1990s, making it the deadliest conflict since the Second World War. The fighting has displaced millions, causing a humanitarian catastrophe. The forests are stripped bare, the wildlife is driven to extinction, and the local population is terrorized by armed groups who treat human life as cheap. The blood that drips from your smartphone is real. The global community has been slow to react because the issue is so complex. Cutting off the trade would devastate the local economy, potentially pushing the survivors into even more desperate situations. The solution is not a simple ban, but pressure on the corporations to provide traceability. The corporations are beginning to listen, driven by shareholder pressure and negative publicity. Some companies, like the Fairphone Initiative, are attempting to create a completely transparent supply chain, paying the miners directly and ensuring that their money does not fund violence. But this is a tiny fraction of the market. The vast majority of the money that flows into the conflict zones comes from the opaque, gray economy. The problem is rooted in the very heart of our consumer society. The products we use every day are built on the dead. The extraction of coltan is a war crime, and as long as we demand our gadgets, the war will continue.